Tim, my God. Listen, before we address the 800-pound gorilla in the room,
which is 800 pounds of hair. I know.
I mean, that is ridiculous. Okay, but before we do that, just so stop that for a second, okay? If that's possible. If I said to you, ready?
Yeah.
Jack Lemmon, Michael Douglas, and Jane Fonda, what do you say? You don't say anything.
Hold on. What was the movie? About the nuclear reactor?
Keep going. What is topical right now in the market?
Obviously, Chernobyl. I mean, whatever.
No, help me. What country is first and foremost in the crosshairs of the Trump administration?
China.
The China
Russia.
syndrome. The China syndrome. Work with me here.
Sorry. Yes.
Now I know the hair is clearly.
Well, I mean, you threw me off. You're better actually at playing the $10,000 pyramid than that. You let your clues. No one gives better clues than you. But I think, sorry, you threw me off because I apologize for that. I was on the nuclear track. But Jane Fonda obviously can throw anybody off in a lot of different directions, and all of them kind of weird. But
I'll tell you something. Jane Fonda in her day, Jane Fonda in Barefoot in the Park with Robert Redford. I mean, that's a Jane Fonda you're wading in.
Sharp gal. I mean, the question is, I mean, do you see her as Hanoi Jane?
No, I do not. I do not.
Well,
some people do. I don't let politics cloud my Jane Fonda fondness. But
and have you hold on. Have you ever participated in a Jane Fonda workout?
No. I don't know if that's a metaphor or an actual thing. But
no, it's not a euphemism. It's not Urban Dictionary. It's not. So all right, let's keep going because obviously we've got some stuff to talk about
That's why I brought up the
world of rock and roll,
because obviously the market was having a big day today, most of the day, and we saw a reversal late. And personally, and you might push back on this, but I think finally maybe the market is now taking into consideration this escalating rhetoric between the United States and the Chinese. So I throw it back to you. Does China now matter? Do we have a China syndrome? Are we seeing a potential meltdown?
Right. There's so many metaphors and puns there. I think you have to consider the China impact when you know what China was doing for markets. Remember, on October 3rd, 2019, markets hit I think we were around 2,800 on the S&P, but that was essentially the low in which we then vaulted into the end of the year because the Fed made China and trade war somewhat irrelevant when they started talking about money markets and gave us that stealth QE4 and pumped $500 billion into the market into the end of the year. But what we saw really going into that period, essentially markets peaked in July. And then they peaked again, really in September before running and struggling around trade war, around China, around a global economy that was certainly starting to seize up under supply chain dynamics and just, effectively the impact of the two largest economies in the world going toe to toe. You can't avoid that now when, on a morning when I know we got better jobless claims number than we expected, but in total, 40 million jobs have been lost. Hold on, someone's calling me. I think it's Jane. Hold on.
Yes, tell her to say hi.
Yeah, Jane, look, I can't talk right now because unfortunately we are talking markets, and fortunately I've kept you out of this. And Guy claims he's never done your workout, but he does love you. In sidewalk in the park. What was that?
Barefoot in the park, Tim.
Yeah,
Barefoot in the park.
This person, I was actually just on the line and playing but I thought I was actually turning it off and answering it and hanging up quickly so that we could have this little exchange. This person's calling back. They have no idea what I was just talking about. And I can't pick them up now because we're doing a show. So I'm hitting them. Anyway.
But let me just hold on. I know I don't want to break your train of thought here, but I've always found it fascinating. And we've been on the show together for 13 years. So when we talk about the show Fast Money, and it doesn't happen often, but it happens once in a while where your phone will go off in the middle of the show. And I just love that. Now, tell the audience, though, Before
So
every show, what do I say to you?
I show up at 4:52 or later on the set, scramble around, get my computer squared, get my IFB in my ear. That's what this is. And then guy yells over, phone's off. And then he says it again, almost like he's pissed, but he's saying it just to, he's like, phone's off.
Hold on
Tim.
one second. The door's open, Chris. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Chris needs to
That's
come
all
in.
right. Sorry about that.
Who's Chris and why is he here? You don't have a
Chris
Sunday.
is here. Chris is our electrician, and he's here to fix. I mean, and so I just. Told him to
you know
come
what?
in.
Send him my way when he's done. We have some issues here. But right, my phone goes off more times than not, and especially the days when there's something else that's gone wrong. Like that day I rode my bicycle into the NASDAQ 10 minutes late, and I got up onto the set out of breath, and the phone rang me. So I think what we need to do is we first of all, to put a line under where markets are, the S&Ps to the intraday highs had rallied 9.5% in 9 days. Okay. To me, whatever it did on the close is possibly just markets that at some point need to take a breather. And this is a major breather. We spend a lot of time on technicals. So, but yes, China is a factor. The reality of 40 million unemployed, I believe, is where we were before I was so rudely interrupted by someone that decided to call me. And we don't really know where the unemployment and the consumption trends are going. Jamie Dimon said it very interestingly yesterday when he pointed out that many consumers have more cash flow and essentially have more household income right now through stimulus than they do without stimulus and when they had jobs. That's not going to last forever. We've said that all along, and I think we balance the market conversation by talking about the Fed, China, the fact that earnings season really didn't matter, and that companies have a mulligan till 2021 late, and that finally, though, we really just don't know where the consumer is at, who is 70% of our economy. So right now, I'm going to tell you that the most important factor is still the Federal Reserve, but this China news would be plenty to give the market pause going into the close.
Okay, now let's address your hair. Now, obviously, Mr. Rocket, Ricky Rocket,
he's in my head. He's in my head. I mean, the Rocket's in my head, and it's the Rocket's red glare, man. I mean, look, first of all, if anything, I thought I was showing my reverence to Poison and the crew and the hair metal of all the people that are on our show. I mean, I got to tell you, I've got a lot of metal game in my past. So what I'm doing, because I may or may not lose the drum off, but I tell you what, man, the rock and roll hair will be there, and I think not only will I be twirling sticks, but I'll be, my mane will be of. I think I'm taking Ricky down on the hair for sure. And I know, by the way, Ricky's a hairdresser. Like Ricky, in another life, that dude is working on some serious coiffs, and we've seen that over the years. But look, I have to slick back for every fast money. It's COVID-19, man. I haven't been near a barber, and my girl Jaleesa at the Aveda Salon on 72nd Street in Columbus hasn't returned my phone calls.
The Aveda Salon. I mean, you think about that, just came out of your mouth.
What do you pay for a haircut? What do you pay for a haircut?
See, I'm glad you brought that up. So I used to go to, and we probably got to cut this quickly, but I used to go to a place called John Allen in Midtown.
Yeah.
I'm probably paying $60, but I've since
it's a well-known Wall Street spot.
Downshifted down to a local barber, and it's anywhere from 25 to 40. So that's where I am.
And are you getting the straight edge razor thing going on?
On the neck, they will clean up your neck with the straight edge and some hot lather.
Well, I think we've generated a lot of hot lather both on this segment, and Ricky, hot lather's coming your way, pal. See you later.